Now, the 10-minute drill.
This is a big one.
On 1010XL.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
Hit it.
All right, sports concepts and rationalizations coming your way. We call it the 10-minute drill. At the end of the segment, Beef will hand out a lovely prize pack, and that prize pack, if I'm not mistaken, if it's the same as yesterday, is a wonderful gift. Beef?
It's a blowout, Dan. We're going to hook you up. You're going to let you make someone else's day with a free floral arrangement from Kuhn Flowers, or make your own day and send it to you. Plus, we'll hook you up with a pair of tickets to the Jaguars' first home preseason game against the Eagles. That comes complete with passes to the Publix Party Shack Tailgate Village, complete with food and beverage.
All right, a couple things. Number one, I was watching yesterday at work the Marlins and the Mets, and they were interviewing Craig Minervini. There was a couple kids making their major league debut yesterday for the Marlins, okay?
Right.
One of them, well, both of them played for the Jumbo Shrimp, interestingly enough. One this year, one last year. And I don't, listen, I put myself in the position. Let me ask you this, Jeff Prosser. If your son was making his major league debut, which is a day of celebration, no matter the outcome, culminating in all the years that, as a parent, you're thinking about all the games you went to, all the balls you threw to your kid, et cetera, right? And this guy comes and sits down and is talking to you while your kid is performing. I couldn't handle it.
They didn't handle it all that great either.
I did not want to. I would not want to talk to you during the interview. But the funny thing is, so I'm sitting there and I'm about to tweet that, it just doesn't feel right. It's uncomfortable. Whack!
And then Dad goes crazy, and it's the best interview of the day.
It's an emotional day for you?
Very, very emotional.
That's Isan Diaz and his dad. His dad went crazy, and he should.
His dad screamed like that for a solid minute.
It was awesome. It was a great moment. And so then I thought, well, I guess that's why you do it. But it's still at that, you could tell he did not want to do this interview while his kid's hitting, and I don't blame him. I get that. And so, but they got the payoff, and he homered off Jacob deGrom, which was, and when he's sitting there, after that long, he's like, hey. We just hit a home run of Jacob deGrom, the Cy Young Award winner. So, again, by the way, I know that they don't have a lot to cheer for. I mean, I've lived through a baseball season as well many times where you don't have a lot to cheer for. But the Marlins announcers, their thing yesterday was that home run was a symbolic moment for the franchise of when things started to turn.
Could be.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're looking for something and you're a Marlins, I mean, you've been nothing but harassed for not getting anything in return for these deals. That's the Yelich deal. So.
Yes, it is the Yelich
Now,
deal.
one home run is not a career man.
And then he went off on this tangent about how dare people judge that Yelich deal without, after just one season.
No, it's
the
a bad
only
deal.
The only kid who had even come up, like the Brinson kid is headed towards Bustville. Diaz has the potential. He had 26 home runs in minor league baseball. They also have Monte Harrison is another kid who we had come through here is with the baby cakes, but he's hurt. So they've gotten some other, and Yamamoto is another guy who's come back. He started off red hot, and has come back a little bit. So anyway, I thought that was, but it turned out to be a great moment. So I don't know.
There's nothing that can happen to negate the terribleness of the Yelich deal. That's the worst trade in the history of baseball.
Wow.
You traded a guy who the next 2 years, and by the way, he had not played at that level until then, which tells me you also have no vision of forecast of how good a guy can be, and he's back-to-back MVP? That's the worst trade ever.
And the worst thing is, it's not like he's making $26 million a year.
No, it was just awful.
He's making like 8 or 11.
It was a dumb deal.
Yeah.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Like-
not a
like-
good deal.
That should have been your cornerstone piece.
Yes.
You don't deal that.
Yes. And they come back, well, he didn't want to be here. Well, he didn't want to be there because of what you guys had become. We're going to tear it down and start over. Well, then count me out.
Yeah. Dan, what I heard yesterday from, the guys who are up there, our guys at 1010 and Tony and others.
Yes.
it was music to my ears. I heard this uttered yesterday after a 2.5 hour practice between the Ravens and the Jaguars. The offense was a lot better than the defense. Boy, if I can hear that every day, we're going to be fine around here. I got full confidence that the defense will be just fine when the practice stops and the games start. So if I can get Leonard Fournette scooting around the ends and bursting the speed like he did as a rookie, if I can get D.D. Westbrook and D.J. Chark to continue looking like bona fide weapons in the pass game, then, yeah, this season can go a lot better than most people think.
No question. No question. Listen.
That's also a very good defense they're playing against.
Look, the Jaguars have...
With no tackling. Asterisk.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Listen, I'm ready for the maiden voyage to embark and see what we got out there and see if some of these dudes can catch a better football and see if, Nick Foles, who is anywhere from average to captain to Super Bowl MVP to above average, depending on who you talk to, can lead this football team. One thing about Nick Foles, man, that guy says all the right things, doesn't he? I mean, he is dialed in and knows how to. It's not just leadership and camaraderie are not just words to Nick Foles. He really means it when he talks about it, and I think that's great. I watched something yesterday I want to recommend. I finally got to checking it out over there on ESPN Plus. That's the Peyton Manning NFL 100. You got to go searching for it. But I watched 3 of them, and they're all really good. It's what I had hoped for. He's a funny guy, but the best one is he took Chris Carter. He met up with Chris Carter in New York, okay? And he was talking about what a great receiver Chris Carter was, and he was throwing with him, and he's like, do you want to make the greatest catch of your life, Chris Carter? And he's like, well, yeah, sure. I don't know if I'm as good as I used to be, but yeah, I'll give it a shot. Well,
Is that the one he made for the Eagles that in the corner?
No, actually, he said the best catch he ever made was when he beat Bobby Butler of the Atlanta Falcons. And he reached over him. They showed it. It was a pretty good catch.
Do you know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah,
though? He had one
absolutely.
kind of like a Odell-ish.
Absolutely. So anyway, I guess in the 100, in the history of the NFL, to build up some excitement for football, they took this guy who led the NFL in touchdown catches with 4 one year, and they threw him footballs off the top of a building. So Peyton went up to the top of the building, same building in New York.
Who was it that led it with 4?
It was like
how long
Hank
ago?
Haynes or something.
Like from the 50s?
20s? No. Like 100 years ago, like way back when. And so he goes up to the top of the building, and when they did it 100 years ago or whatever it was, there was more, and Carter's in the park waiting at the bottom to catch it. And there was more grass then, so they had to close off the street to, And so Peyton walks out there. He's like, wow, this isn't really much room here. I can't really follow through. Okay, I'm going to have to just let it rip. So he had to throw it a long way out, and then it was like 400 feet.
He threw it from like a rooftop?
Yeah.
Is that what we're doing?
Yeah. So the first one he threw.
What's the correlation between the guy 100 years ago and what they're doing?
They did the exact same thing from the exact same building.
Oh, he did that as just like a...
They did it to build up support for football.
Oh,
come watch this. This is fun.
Yeah.
So Peyton goes and wings it, and the first one comes flying in like a missile, and Carter steps away and goes, man, we got a problem here. So 18 passes later, he still hadn't caught one. They're talking to each other.
Is he trying to catch him and it's hurting his hands?
Yeah, all kinds of things. Like,
he might break your hand on
when
that.
the ball starts coming down... Like he throws Peyton still it was actually throwing a beautiful spiral, which is unbeknownst to Peyton. But then when it starts going down, it starts
like
spinning crazy, too. It gets like out of control,
Yeah.
And so 0 for 18 before Chris Carter. He had a helmet on and gloves. He took the helmet off and put the old leather helmet on, and then he caught one. And then he made a great catch on one right off the ground. It didn't touch the ground. And then he walked off. But
which one of those guys, if you had to play them in a football game this Sunday, would be most ready to play? Peyton?
Yeah.
Peyton, don't forget now, when he retired 5 years ago, he couldn't throw anymore.
Yeah, he looked pretty good. He was grunting when he was throwing it.
Yeah.
So he was letting it rip.
Yeah.
You think he did like a cycle right before?
He may have.
Boy, they must miss it so bad. Got to miss playing.
Yeah, I don't know. He's
busy. He's doing a lot.
The very first one that I watched. He's sitting on the stoop. I like to say that, the stoop with Daddy. You know, and Archie's like, Peyton, look, you have got to get a job. and he
How
goes,
much money did Peyton Manning
and
make?
he's like, yeah, I know. He goes, Peyton goes, well, you know, I am doing those commercials. And he goes, and they're paying me a pretty good amount of money. And Archie's like, I understand that, but that doesn't fill the time. You got to do something. So they start talking about the NFL, and that's kind of how they introduced it. It was good. I mean, so there's a lot of those.
I'm kind of bitter that ESPN chooses to
I don't
shove it
understand
on
why
some
they don't.
online forum.
I mean, they do so much on television.
I know.
That should not just be on ESPN Plus. They're
I know
very good.
Well, I know they know it's the best thing they have. They're
Yeah.
trying to make you go to this streaming service.
They did one on the draft, which was fascinating. So they went to the original draft and Burt Bell and how he started the draft. Then they went and visited with Gil Brandt, who bought this computer that was the first time that they ever inputted like 20,000 names. This big, giant IBM 360 or whatever it is. It was hilarious. And they said before that, this is how they would do the draft. You'd call somebody you know in West Virginia and go, who's the best offensive tackle you've seen? Oh, that's, Dickie Ruth. And they go, okay, we draft Dickie Ruth.
It's changed a little bit, hasn't it?
And then he went and they did a bunch of Mel Kiper clips and how Mel Kiper changed the draft, and they went over the Tobin thing. It was very good, though. And there's a lot of things that you don't remember and a lot of video that you haven't seen. And then he did something with Joe Namath as well, shooting pool. So he recreates some moments as well. So, if you haven't checked it out, I'd give it a thumbs up.
All right, I got one last thing here
Yes,
before
sir.
we conclude the 10-minute drill, and then we're back with much more. I'm going to give you
much more.
I'm going to give you. Is it 10 seconds? Is that what you give on this game? You give 10 seconds.
I'm ready.
All right,
Higher.
10 seconds,
Mhm.
and I'm going to need you to tell me career earnings
Okay.
for one Vincent Carter. Vince Carter.
200 million.
Lower.
180.
Higher.
190.
Lower.
185.
Lower.
184. 183. 182. 181.
183, basically. 183 million. Now,
We would own the clock game.
Yeah, we would. We're good at it. But I bring this up for this reason.
He's back.
How much must Vince Carter love basketball?
Yeah.
He doesn't need the 2.3 million he's going to make next
No.
year. He's a surefire Hall of Famer.
Yes.
First ballot.
Yes.
He's now playing. Dan, there are 4 Atlanta Hawks, okay, who weren't born when
Yeah.
Vince Carter started his career.
Yeah.
He's setting records now. He's going to be the only basketball player in the history of the NBA to play in 4 different decades.
Is he Tom? He's 42.
42.
Yeah, Tom Brady.
Yeah, he's Tom Brady's age. Not playing at the
Which is
elite
tougher?
level.
Which is tougher, doing what Brady does or what Carter does?
Carter by a mile.
By a mile.
I believe so. To be in the physical conditioning to get up and down the court.
You ain't getting punished though.
Yeah, but maybe a little bit, but not like Brady does.
Yeah.
Well, Brady doesn't either. He just flops when he's going to get hit, which he should.
Most of the time, yeah.
But and Vince Carter, by the way, for Atlanta was viable last year. I mean, he had moments. He's become a really good 3-point shooter.
Mhm.
I mean, look, this is just a roster filler. Don't get me wrong, but I'm more than anything, I'm not amazed that he can still be signed at 42.
Sure.
I'm just amazed that the guy, how much he must love basketball. You got to love it to go on the road. And, that's such a pittance compared to what you've made in
you're
your
not.
career.
It's not exactly like you're getting a ring.
Right? You're not
You know?
you're not ring chasing. If he could have
No
gone
offense,
to
but
the
he is.
Nets, the Nets wanted him. He didn't go there.
Yeah.
As Woj pointed out, there wasn't a huge market for Vince Carter this summer.
Yeah.
Next summer,
Yeah.
when the market opens for Vince Carter TV analyst, there will be a huge market.
You know what?
Really? He's good?
You know what he did, guys? I meant to bring this up in basketball season. I don't think I ever talked about it on the air. Vince Carter, they give him an off day like every 7 games, and he
He's
sits in on the
fantastic.
Atlanta crew.
And he's fantastic.
He does
really?
the game with Dominique.
And he's
they're-
awesome.
Yeah.
Oh.
And so you want to talk about some insight. You got a guy who's actually on the team telling you what's going on.
All right.
So
All right, let's do caller number 1. 641-1010.
gosh.
641-1010. You better get on those.
Get dialing.
Quick fingers. Who's got it? What are they getting beef?
Caller number 1, Dan, is taking home a floral arrangement from Kuhn Flowers and, by the way, a pair of tickets to the Jaguars preseason home opener coming up against the Philadelphia Eagles. That comes with passes to the Publix Party Shack Tailgate Village, complete with food and beverage. A pair to the lucky caller number 1 at 641-1010.
all right, when we
I
come
like
back on the other side, we're going to let you hear from the NFL analyst, former GM, who says the Jags are going to the Super Bowl. And I I have a pop quiz concerning the quarterback that will open the season here in Jayville, and I'm not talking Nick Foles. So that and more on a Catlin Truck Accessories Tuesday.